In what universe, galaxy, world, Andromeda, whatever, can you have Arizona State ranked 22nd going into next year? I know Bill Connelly's S&P Plus, which factors in returning production, recent recruiting, and information from the previous 4 seasons, might be putting a little bit too much weight on the previous 4 seasons part. Richie Bradshaw of Locked On Sun Devils is here. I couldn't get past this, Richie. I just couldn't, because there are some good teams that I have no objection to Arizona State being behind in this metric, but people see this stuff and there's no context, which is what we're here to do. Provide the context. And the context is, this is ridiculous no matter what metric you're looking at. How are you going to put on paper, Arizona State behind Missouri, who we're talking about later in today's show, behind SMU, behind Kansas State, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Florida? And they threw South Carolina in there because why the heck not? Can you explain that to me, Richard?
Spencer, as much as I love to get in front of a camera, hear my own voice, and tell you things like I know what I'm talking about, if I'm trying to explain to you how that metric has accurately taken into account what was one of the things you said? Returning production, right?
Returning production, yes. One of the key factors.
Yeah, and ASU's returning pretty much everything except Cam Scatterville, which I understand that's a big blow. The people's running back is gone. We're returning Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson and pretty much everyone else on offense. Like, we could sit here and go into this for hours, Spencer, but what's blowing me away is I don't know how you take one of those metrics being returning production, grant that to be as important as it is, and then not apply it to the team that is returning, I think, the 3rd most production in college football. Clemson's ahead of them, and there might be one other team. That's it.
Illinois could be really high on that list.
That may be the only other one.
Illinois, good team. But
great team. Might finish 4th place in the Big Ten, I hear.
Some have said. Some have said they should be power rated 4th in the Big Ten going into next year. Some have said
someone crazy.
He might be insane, but he's got a good show.
Microphone.
He's got a microphone and a show, and an audience. There are actual numbers out there. I've heard. I've just heard. So if you were to make a preseason top 25, Richie, and put your Sun Devils bias in there as much as you would like, Arizona State, no matter which way you slice it, there's no way they should be outside the top 15, right? Let alone outside the top 20.
Oh yeah, no, that's the bare minimum. I would tell you anything outside of the top 12 would not be accurate, in my opinion. And I'm also really annoyed with seeing other Big 12 teams placed ahead of Arizona State. I like Iowa State. I like Kansas State. I like BYU. I like Texas Tech. Why are any of them ahead of Arizona State when Arizona State's bringing everything back? That's my problem with it.
I think the Texas Tech angle, I'll defend the Red Raiders here because they'd be my preseason favorite in the Big 12. I think Arizona State has a higher floor based on what they showed last season. I think Texas Tech has raised their ceiling considerably. Their off-season moves, it can be, if you want to call it prisoner of the off-season moment, that's fine. I understand that. Texas Tech has gone out and invested the funds necessary to, and I commend them for doing so, to get a top 5 transfer portal class in all of college football. That's not a small thing. You can't just say, well, they brought in some good guys. No. This was an 8-4 regular season team last year that went out and brings back plenty and got significantly better. And by the way, you know who's 4th in returning production in the country? Texas Tech. Arizona State is 2nd, just ahead of Illinois. Only Clemson is ahead of all of them at number 1. They're the only school in the country that returns over 80% of their production from a season ago. So that does not automatically mean you're going to go win a championship. It does mean, in my view, if you were a good team last year, there's a floor that, barring catastrophic injuries to places like quarterback, you're just not going to go below.
Right. And if you like the term paper champs, then Texas Tech is the paper champs. And normally you say that disparagingly, like, oh, look at the Cleveland Browns or the Chicago Bears are paper champs for the umpteenth year. Texas Tech is the paper
Hold on
champs
for just a moment. Whoever picked the Bears to be good?
Oh, dude, you gotta watch more NFL, I guess, because
Apparently
every
so.
year it's the Chicago Bears are the paper champs.
Because in my head, I've never picked the Bears as the paper champs of anything except last place.
Brother, you might want to hop on Locked On then and let them know how you feel. But point is, Spencer, in a non-disparaging, non-insulting way, Texas Tech is the paper champs of the Big 12 and one of the biggest winners of the offseason in college football, and they are going to contend for the Big 12 heavily this year. But considering ASU didn't lose nearly what they lost, they are number one until further notice. If you lost Scadaboo, Tyson, Levitt, 5 players on defense, yeah, then you can put them second, third, fourth, whatever. But they're returning basically the whole team, which is where I get annoyed that other Big 12 teams are ahead of them. And I certainly get annoyed that you are 22nd on your SP Plus rankings. And Bill Connelly, I never liked that guy anyway.
You never liked that guy.
Nothing. I always hated that guy. Until I said something nice about ASU, and then he's my favorite. Always.
Yeah, that sounds about right for how college sports fandom tends to work. You can't stand people who put together a statistical list and have never you've never.
I became
met
a very big Scott Van Pelt fan this year, and it was funny. I never really used to listen to him too much, and I don't know. Suddenly, I'm just willing to go to war for Scott Van Pelt.
You didn't watch a lot of SportsCenter with SVP over the years? That's like the only SportsCenter I've watched in the last 10 years. Tragically, I used to watch it every morning.
Spencer, it's the gif of the penguin from Madagascar pointing at the sign that says it was a joke.
Oh.
It's because he's accused of having that SEC bias working for ESPN, and he's never talked about ASU before, but now he does. So I'm like, hey, I love that guy. He's the best.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go.
My bad. I missed that one. I hope
it's
we all get it,
sweetie. It was a smart joke.
We could all have a laugh at my expense. I will allow that, even though this is my show. But last thing on Arizona State here, Richie. I really like the Sam Levitt, Jordan Tyson connection, and I think a lot of people. Yeah, it's hard to not. But I want you to go deeper into that returning tandem. Do you think Joel Klatt had Sam Levitt number 4 on his top quarterbacks in all college football last year? I like Levitt a lot. I would not have him number 4 ahead of Garrett Nussmeier. Is number 4 where you think Sam Levitt should be?
Right about there. And I would tell you that the 3 ahead of him would be Nussmeier, Aller, and Klubnik until further notice.
I think the hottest part about that take is you'd put Drew Aller there, because Levitt was, I don't remember exactly what his stats were in the quarterfinal game against Texas, but Aller's got that stigma around him, right? Mm-hmm. That he doesn't show up in the big games and all that. He just won 2 playoff games, but he's not going to get any credit for that, of course. That's the way that this game is played. But Levitt at 4, I feel like I want to see just a tad more. I would rank him ahead of DJ Lagway at Florida. I would.
Oh, yeah. I was yelling at you about that before we got started.
Yeah, I would do that because I've seen more from Levitt than I've seen from Lagway.
Being on the field, turns out, is your best ability.
What's the best ability? What is
Availability.
Availability, yes. Indeed. And
hard to be good when you're not on the field. Isn't that right, Florida fans who cheered for Anthony Richardson? Man, this seems really familiar.
Yeah, it does.
But I love Lagway. He's just not better.
He's a stud.
We can leave it there.
He's a stud. We will leave it there. Richie Bradshaw, Locked On Sun Devils, great.